Hey everyone, you might have heard already that Amazon is laying off 14,000 people, and among those 14,000 are people who worked for Amazon Game Studios, so the team that brought us, for example, New World. And while New World might not have been the biggest success ever, because when it launched 4 years ago, it was troubled by issues, and people who were initially very excited suddenly started to drift off away from the game. Recently, the game had a resurgence of players, they were interested in what's coming. Season 10, Nighthaven, was very well received, and that was the moment when the news dropped that they will discontinue developing New World and they will shift away their focus from making AAA games to AI-focused games. And in order to talk about this whole situation, about New World, how we got from the launch to here, about the Amazon layoffs, about their new focus into AI, and the reason about this whole change of direction, I invited my friend Leia from Rings MMO, who will be joining me for a conversation today. This conversation will take a while, so if you'd like to take some tea or water or soda, whatever works for you, go get that and join us, because I think this is an interesting conversation that goes beyond what's happening with Amazon and shows the bigger trend in the industry. Let's begin. So we're here in a not so good day, right? It's the moment I think no one has been expecting. That's the thing, that everything has been going so well for New World recently, with the resurgence of players, then with the new Nighthaven season. I think that was the season.
Yes.
And suddenly we get an announcement that, well, you know what? It's actually not going to happen. So how the hell did we get here?
That's a really good question. When I got the news, I read it in the evening. I saw the posting basically, I think 20 minutes after they posted it. It's my usual thing to just look up news in the evening, and then I read it, and I reread it, and I reread it again. I was like, wait, what? Because the big uprising of New World, I just checked again, it happened 1.5 months ago. That everyone was talking about how great it is and how much fun it is now, and I didn't even come to play the cool part now, because I was thinking like, oh yeah, now it's going really well for 1.5 months. Maybe I'm still busy playing Pokemon. Maybe I will just have a look in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I didn't get to experience that part, and it made me incredibly sad. It made me so sad when I read the news. I felt immediately sorry for the community, for the developers, for the new studio head, like the new game director, Katie, because she did apparently an amazing job for everyone. And imagine being a team taking such a turnaround, and then you're there.
So we have New World that released in September 21. I only did like a small playtest before that, but I recall you played it earlier than that, because New World, before it got into being what it was, like this PvE, also PvP MMO, it was fully PvP, right?
Yes.
The concept of it.
I think that is also part why I got so emotional about this, because I was there from the very beginning. In 2018, there was a very first playtest for New World, and that was still when nobody knew what this game would be. We all knew, okay, Amazon Games is cooking something up, and it is apparently an MMO, so I went there during Gamescom, and back then it was still a completely PvP sandbox survival game. And it was without fantasy. So It had this setting of the 1700s of early America with first settlers, and had this colonialism style or setting, and everything was super brutal. It was super dark. Then they basically were this PvE MMO, but were a wild mix of, you still had this survival build-up, and there was not that much PvE in the game. But when it ultimately came, it was a little bit lucky in the sense that it came during the pandemic and people had time and there were big player base. And there was something there that was very fun to play. And it had struggles just with being, in Germany we say not fish, not flesh. So you basically didn't really knew what it wanted to be, even though it already changed a lot. And that was basically the basis where it started.
Yeah, I get that, because when the game came out in September 21, I also was very much interested into getting into it. And I did on launch. It was not easy because you had to find your place in a queue, then wait for a few hours, and hopefully once you're allowed to enter in, you just hope you don't get kicked. And I even remember small things that they were introducing, that if someone is idling for too long, they were automatically kicking that person because people would just rather leave a character for 2 hours doing nothing in the city, because they didn't want to lose their place on the server and then wait another few hours to get in. So I remember those things, and I really liked the kind of action RPG combat of it all. It was not it was something, let's say, a bit unusual for me, because I only got into World of Warcraft 2 years earlier than that. So 2019, that was the first time I got into WoW. So there was a huge step into a different direction to play something like New World. But then the big feature for me was also the housing. I really wanted to have a nice house in the city. Ultimately, I did. And that was actually the moment that I kind of stopped playing this game. And that was the big issue there, apart from the technical issues. My PC, I think, was heating up to 100 degrees when I was in the city, because then it was an enormous strain on my hardware. But then it was very, very grindy, but not in a nice way. I can play grindy games, but it was not that cool. So I gave up on it at some point after getting to another PvE zone that felt kind of empty, and I said okay, maybe one day I'll be back. But since then I have not been back, although the game got its expansion in 23. That was kind of big. I don't remember the name right now, something about Angry Earth. I'm not very professional not knowing this, but it was added. And then we had New World Eternum in 2024, which was this kind of, I don't want to say relaunch, because it wasn't really a relaunch. It was the new version of the game, with the rebrand coming to PC, big changes coming into the game, but also the console launch for the game, which was important because previously it was only in PC. And then we got to the point where we had this resurgence recently. We had pre-season 10 interest in the game coming back. Then we got Night Haven, that I think people were pretty happy with it, seeing what's been written and said online. And now we're here. But is it normal for MMOs to kind of get through this cycle of not being that good? Or
Absolutely.
not being beloved as much?
It is nothing unusual for an MMO to start out really crap. Sorry for saying it like that, but which MMO can you remember that started out perfectly smooth? If you take Final Fantasy XIV as a very good example for this. They basically shut the servers down because the game was so bad. They even put it in the story itself from Final Fantasy XIV of that the world actually exploded and your character got saved through some magic and you went on, and they had to rebuild everything. The Elder Scrolls Online also started like this. The first days of World of Warcraft were also crazy with big technical issues and stuff. But the thing is that for MMOs or MMORPGs, it's quite normal to develop with the time and if you manage to have something interesting in your game that the people really enjoy and a community is built around it, like New World had too. There were big content creators for it. There were big forums where people were still discussing, even though New World was not the perfect MMORPG that people would have hoped for as a Western MMORPG. There was still a community and it had everything, really everything to have a fresh start now, a good start with a new direction, to have this classical MMORPG turnaround where they work closely with the community, and nowadays also content creators. You have specialized content creators that only play like one game constantly and put YouTube videos on it, and they basically also become experts after a while for that game and the experience, and they collaborate with those community people and those content creators to make the game better. They all had it now, and it was like 1.5 months ago. I was talking with my team. Of course, we have more MMO players in our team, and we had more people trying out the game, and I was a little bit late to the party because Digimon and Pokemon. But I was planning to have a look again, but many people of my team were in there, and everyone was like, yes, this is finally it. This is now the turning point. And we didn't have it on our bingo sheet for 2025 that New World would get such a revival, but we're here for it. We're excited. They all had fun playing it, and it was really cool to see. And there are so many cool things in the game, like the combat system is very cool, the setting, like this mystical settler setting, and the sound design, and especially the sound design. Did you ever chop the tree in New World and listen to it falling down?
I did not focus beautiful. On it.
You should have. It's beautiful. Like, chopping trees in that game is just a beautiful experience, and it had a lot. It had such a good basis to build up, and as I said, it's quite normal for MMOs.
Okay, but you did try to reach the team recently, right? For some kind of an interview.
We did, because I was thinking like, okay, if everything is going so smooth right now and everyone is happy, now is the perfect timing to have like an interview about it. So via the PR agency, we tried. And I was hoping for an interview with the new game director, and was like, hey, it's so cool. It's going so great right now for you guys. Let's just maybe do an interview and talk about this turnaround. It's happy time right now for New World. Perfect timing. And we basically just got a response of they are not doing anything like this right now. And I shrugged it off, was like, okay, they're not. And I was a little bit confused about this, because I thought like, but this would also be great marketing for them, because not that many people are following New World actively anymore. And we, as an MMO focused or service game focused website, we were of course still following it. And I said, but it would be great for them if people would tell the story of how great New World is now. But then I was like, hopelessly naive, like I am sometimes. I was like, oh, maybe they were just really, really busy right now because everything is going so great. And maybe they just have a lot of work and want to focus on that. And then I forgot about it. And when I read the news about, they're not going to continue, I was like, okay, makes sense.
Yes. Now. So that's the thing. They're not really shutting down the game today. But what they announced is that there will be no new content updates. And they will keep the servers live through next year. So like at least until 2026, the servers will be live. And they also said that there will be a 6-month notice at least 6-month notice as to when the servers will be shutting down. I expect this is like required by law or something to make this happen like this. But this means that we might as well expect that January 1st, 2027 is going to be when the servers will be taken offline. And they did say that some rotational events will be happening, but there will be no holiday events, for example. There will be no new content coming. So what does it mean for an MMO to just stop receiving content? Because for me, it feels like it basically means killing off a game.
Yeah,
when there's no new content coming.
It's dead. Like MMOs or service games, they live off that. They live off people being busy with the games for years. Even if you not play every time actively, every time when there's a big content update, you just come back and have a look, and maybe you like it a little bit more, and so you play also a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit meh, and you just play for a few hours. But if you generally like a game, you just come back and have a look. And that is how these games work. Like, they are so community based and so driven by players having fun with this genre, having fun with their games, and reconnecting also with the people. Like, hey, did you see New World in that case will get a new content update and it seems to be bigger. Do you want to play in a month with me? Yeah, sure, of course. And you read in the meantime, you talk to the people, and if you take that away and it's basically, no, we're not doing updates anymore, why should you play? And an MMO is also always invest in the future. Also, it's just like your time. You invest in the future of a game because you want to play it for years.
I mean, I get that. I get that people are pissed. And indeed, investing your time in a game that is, well, if you have this feeling that whatever you do, it will be gone within a year, you might as well just shift to a different MMO that still is going to be there after a year or year and a change. But to keep all of that in context, obviously we need to kind of talk about why all of that is happening. And there's the twofold situation of it all. Basically two reasons are to blame for the whole situation. One is the most obvious one, and it's always money. I can imagine that the upkeep costs of New World were very big. From what I've found online, it was reported by Bloomberg before that annually Amazon Game Studios was kind of going through a budget of about $500 million, which is a lot. Obviously, that's not only New World, but everything, the development costs, even before that. People were saying that this is one of the most expensive MMOs in history. Sure, probably World of Warcraft is more expensive than New World, but it's 21 years that this game has been online, and New World has been online for 4 years. So keeping all that in mind, it was obviously not cheap, and if the game was not making a big return, somebody just might have looked at an Excel sheet and say, okay, this doesn't add up, we're not doing it. But there's the second reason, is obviously AI. There's been a note sent to the people working at Amazon Game Studios that's been kind of leaked to the media that basically says, yes, we will now focus on different projects. We will not be developing huge AAA games, and instead we will focus on smaller titles like our AI-focused casual games developed for Amazon Luna, which is the live streaming service, the let's say cloud gaming service that Amazon has recently also revamped. So yes, AI and money. That sounds like the big two.
I wouldn't even say like that AI itself is the issue. I think it's more, it's connected to money. It's just like greed and miscalculations, because AI is basically still just a tool, It's always the people behind it that decide how to use a tool.
Yeah.
And so, yes, AI is a thing, but still it's just the greed of companies, or a company that like Amazon and the decision makers. And I think you can't really blame a new technological advantage, because it always depends on how you use it. And of course, AI has changed a lot, especially also in the digital world and industry. We have it in video games journalism as well, in content creation as well, in movie industry, gaming industry. It has an effect on all of us. So yes, of course it has an impact, but there are still decision makers that decided to use the tool like that, and not in a, practical manner to get rid of mundane tasks for creative people, to give them more time to focus on their creative work or whatever. Like that could also, you can do that too. You can do that if you want to.
Sure. I mean, it's always the thing with how you use the tools that are given to you. And obviously AI can, I don't think AI can absolutely substitute for a human being. It can, even like Take-Two's CEO said literally yesterday that if GTA was made by AI, it would be nowhere near as good because AI is basically a data-driven model and it cannot be creative on its own. Obviously, you need this creative human spark in it, but you have companies who use AI more and more, and they are very open about it. For example, EA recently mentioned that they're getting into partnership with Stability AI, I think it was called. That's the company that I think is behind Stable Diffusion. And they are co-developing generative AI tools, and they want to use it to to create assets faster, but also to do previews of 3D environments. And in a way, you can say that, okay, it can help with work, but then if you go with this too far, and you think that, we can just substitute our environmental artists or basically concept designers with this, it doesn't work like that. You get this slop that is a very repetitive over what's been done, and you don't get this creativity.
Exactly. I mean, I can imagine if we take the example of an environmental artist, that person can of course use if I now not think about the whole legal aspect of just getting source material from the internet and from people that is stolen to create all of this. If we don't think about this right now for this kind of discussion, of course, as an environmental designer, you can maybe do a first mood board with AI to just get your creative spark going.
Yeah, I'm worried about like situations though, like Krafton announced that they're going to be AI first company, and I'm like, but what does it mean? Like, because it doesn't mean that you're caring about your developers at all. It means that whatever you do, you're going to try to be cost effective and show the potentially biggest income you can by cutting corners wherever you can with AI, and that doesn't sound good.
No, and you know what? It is the same as we are now blockchain first. We are being the blockchain MMO. We are creating the next metaverse. It's basically the same. And that also happened just a few years ago, you know? And there's always like this one trend, I guess, where people jump onto. I mean, AI is bigger than that, for sure. But people that are just there and really don't get the tool, B, don't really get what are the what you can do with the tool and what specifically not, and who maybe don't even know that much about making a game or making a movie and why it works and why people are loving it. There's just like, AI is the thing right now, and AI will make everything better, and I can have lower cost. Yes, we are AI first. But what does it mean? I don't know, but we are AI first. Like, I know I'm over-exaggerating right now, but I mean, you get my point.
a little bit maybe, but though I can't name the company, I know someone working in a like not in the gaming industry, but in the, let's say, digital media. They had this situation of like, okay, AI is now the thing, so we will implement AI in our workflow and we will offer AI solutions to the clients. But what do you mean? I don't know, but AI. And that was literally what was happening. So it's not really an exaggeration of what you were saying. It's happening because you can show it to investors. You can use the buzzwords that will bring people with money to you because, I need to invest into something that is very hot right now, and AI is hot still. So yeah, it's difficult to say how it's going to go because some companies, I think, are very reasonable in how they approach using those tools. But then the biggest companies with the biggest Excel spreadsheets, they are the people in danger. And as we can see with Amazon, this is exactly what's been happening. They're saying like upfront that they're going to do AI focused games. And I have the part of the internal memo. It's like only a part of it, but I thought it makes sense to kind of read it out in context of what's been happening. Also to kind of get the idea of what's still going to happen with the Amazon Game Studios. So it says, while these changes are significant, we still have a lot of going on in game development. Our Montreal studio recently concluded a successful closed alpha of March of Giants and is working hard to finish the game. Our Studio 5 team just released Courtroom Chaos, starring Snoop Dogg as the launch title in Luna, and will continue their focus on more casual and AI-focused games optimized for Luna. Finally, we are continuing to work with our external studio partners Crystal Dynamics on an upcoming Tomb Raider title and Maverick Games on an upcoming open-world driving game. So AI-focused Snoop Dogg game is obviously what catches people's attention. But I don't want to talk too much about this game because I think it's a disservice to what's been happening right now to focus on this AI thing. So let's just mention that it sucks. But what's important here, and what's also, let's say, part of the news, is there is no mention of Lord of the Rings MMO. And that is a big question mark on what's going to happen, because this partnership to make Lord of the Rings MMO was announced 2 years ago.
Yes.
Everyone was kind of like, okay, because New World wasn't at the best place at that point yet. But seeing that you could theoretically apply all the learnings from New World into making another MMO and making it better, and seeing how they made New World better now, you could have hopes that they could have pulled it off. But they're not explicitly saying if they are still doing the Lord of the Rings MMO or not. And that rather, to me, it says we can't yet say that we're not doing it, but we don't want to invest into this.
I think it's dead. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it might be that they still plan to do something with the license, but...
Yeah, because Insider Gaming was reporting recently a few times that there's something going on with the Lord of the Rings IP, and that there will be a game, but this cannot be Amazon thing, because we've known about this one for 2 years, so I don't think this is the case. I don't think they're going to do this, especially that before in their announcement, they said that they're steering away from AAA development, and this would require huge amount of money to make another MMO.
Yeah, one thing that we didn't mention up until now is that MMORPGs are extremely expensive to make. They are very expensive. They are usually in development for up to 5 to 10 years until they are actually ready to release at all. Like those, you need to start with a somewhat big world. You need to have a big staff at least with a lot of different kinds of experts. You have huge development costs before it even starts, and when it starts, actually then the development starts for real. Because you still have the server and structures that you need that are extremely expensive. You have to have this update cycle going on, and you have to be fast. You're also competing with MMOs like WoW that has been around for more than 20 years and is huge. You will always be compared to the MMORPGs that has been out for years. It's really a tough genre to make. I mean, there is a reason, especially also in the West, why we haven't had like a big MMO success for so many years.
I wish I could play Lord of the Rings MMO. I mean, I love that. But at the same time, now I'm not sure. Well, okay, if there was a company who had funds, hypothetically, to make it, it's Amazon. Unfortunately,
yes.
This is one of the companies that can pull it off.
And that was why everyone was also kind of excited. I mean, Amazon wasn't really that good of a player for gaming in general, but it had the resources. It also had the resources to continue now with New World, now that it started to get good, not getting sad again.
But the only thing we can do probably now is go back to Lord of the Rings Online. I mean, yes. I think I played it for a while, many years ago, but maybe it's time to go back and kind of give it a go if we're probably not getting anything from Amazon. So kind of to wrap it all up, what can we expect then? Because obviously we have the industry that's been in a very bad place for the past 3 years. I mean, in a bad place for the people working in it. Because we get great games still. We have awesome games coming over the past 3 years as well. And the biggest issue is that the people who make these games they just get sacked. It doesn't matter if you make a good game, a bad game, or a great game. These days, you get sacked anyway, because the spreadsheets have to be green, and your costs cannot be higher than what you're making. So, I mean, sure, business, but come on, this industry works in a bit different way. So I'm a bit lost as to where we're going. It even impacts like gaming media. Press Engine recently said that this year alone, 25% of gaming journalists moved away from the industry because they changed their current workplace and they didn't pick up the job in any other media, at least gaming media, using their platform. Same for last year, which was also 25%. So we see game dev side affecting also the other parts of the industry. We have all the like research and information that players online, sure, now more people than ever play games, but at the same time, you have statistically people in the US buy 2 games per year. And when you consider that on Steam alone, you have 18,000 releases more or less per year, well, our industry got big really fast, and I'm not sure if we were ready for it.
I think we are right now in a situation of a big technological change. I had this very talk with one of my managing editors, because she was also like, this all makes me right now incredibly sad. I am kind of losing hope. And you have other, like the giants fall right now. Look at BioWare, for example, what is happening there. EA is struggling, Ubisoft is struggling. The giants we grew up with are not in a good spot. And now I want to be very clear that I'm not talking about people who have lost their job, who have been doing amazing work and are suffering from the environment we're in. But maybe it's also not bad if the kings fall. Because if you look at what else was happening the last years, we had Baldur's Gate 3, Larian is on the rise, we had Expedition 33, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 with Sandfall on the rise, we had Hades, we had Silksong, all those AA games that managed to have a big community, to have fans all over the world to play and still engage with the games. And also the industry is shifting for people into being connected to a few games. So many people stick to, yes, it's true, buy 1 or 2 games a year and they stick with it. They engage with it. Meaning if you have, for example, a Baldur's Gate 3 game, it's closed. But people are still playing that game. They are still talking about it. They are still making cosplay about it. It has had such a big impact on the industry, on the people. And there will be new ones like that. So I think we are also right now in a generational switch in the gaming industry, where new studios arise who get what is important in the market, who are a little bit more agile, who are not imprisoned by those big money corporate sheets. Maybe they will reach that point in a few years too, I don't know, but for those that are to come right now, I am really excited. I am excited to see how they are using new technology. There are new people who think about games, and they surely will also make great work in the future. So in that regard, no, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, hope is there, and also there are still good games coming from those big companies. Luckily, I mean, from a completely different side of the things. Like, I'm really happy that this year's Battlefield turned out well, because I really enjoy it. I'm really happy with what it turned out to be, and it is EA. So yeah, these companies can still do good games. I mean, Respawn has been doing a wonderful job for them with Titanfall, with the Jedi series. I mean, okay, the technical state of Jedi 2 was not that awesome. But yeah, I agree that we have so many good studios rising. We have still some good things coming from the big ones, but they are the ones that are the most they're laying the most people off because first of all they have the most people working for them, but also because their costs are so high, and the business side of things just sometimes takes over whatever you're trying to do, and it's sad because it's sad for the developers who are just getting sacked despite doing a good job. But then, like you said, maybe it's sometimes it's good for the people that the big ones fall, and there's luckily new studios that are there to take their place. I wish New World didn't have to go,
Yes.
because the revival of the game has been like a definite success, and this news could not have come in a worse time probably. I mean, a year ago, if somebody said that, I think there wouldn't be such a negative reception of that, because they would say like, oh, okay, well, New World was not a success, so we're just discontinuing. But with the current state of things, I don't know, we talked about this before a little bit, that we think that this might have been a final chance for New World to prove that they can be cost efficient. And well, they achieved certain level of success, but maybe the business side of things said, well, it's not enough. This is where we get to end things and still be a little bit hopeful about the future, that maybe something will work out. Maybe the people who did New World will go the route of what's been happening in the industries, and so creating their own studios, making their own games, and without the corporate oversight, finding funding for these games from sources that believe in their creative vision. Yeah, maybe we will get another story of Warhorse Studios getting funding from the people and making great games afterwards, despite the difficulties. If you have any memories or recollections of New World that you want to share, why you liked it, also why you disliked it, but maybe what you felt could have been done better, make sure to share those in the comments. Thank you, Leia, for joining me today. It's been wonderful to have you, and I hope for a continuation of this partnership.
For sure. It was fun. Thanks.
Nice. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.